very much, Jane, and thank you also, Maeve. And really, the honour is mine to be here, to have been asked to come. I'm a firm believer of you give back. And after so many years of being in contact with 1 in 4, it is my privilege to come here today and to be part of his launch and to say thank you. It is vitally important for me. And I suppose one of the reasons being, and it's a very apt quote there on page 15 of the booklet, I can be myself in 1 in 4. My counsellor gives me time and space to think and talk, and it makes me feel like a good person. It makes me feel like a good person. You have no idea what it feels like to talk to strangers, to be questioned by strangers as a victim of sexual abuse. It is very, very difficult. So the support that 1 in 4 gives is tremendous. They are giving a service that the state through TUSLA should be given and are not given. It is 1 in 4 who are giving that service. There is a smile, and you know there is a smile when you go in the door or whether you make the phone call. You can hear the smile and see the smile even when you're on the phone. It's very important to know that you are with friends. You are in a very, very difficult time of your life. Many people wonder why people like me who were abused as a child took years to come forward, took years to come out and disclose what happened to us. But when we were being abused, we felt we did something wrong. We felt that what was happening to us was dirty, and we didn't like what was happening to us. But we couldn't talk about it because we didn't know how to explain. We didn't really know what it was. So we hid it. It's like, you know, for instance, there's a bag of sweets open on the kitchen table. They're the most expensive sweets in the shop. And little by little, you take one out and it's a secret. You daren't tell. You just daren't tell. Everybody knows about, you know, the box of chocolates. And it's the ones with the nuts that are left in the top tray. But there's the one with the strawberry taste, or the vanilla taste, or the orange taste in the bottom tray. And how many of us know that somebody has gone into the bottom tray and taken it while the ones with the nuts are still on top? You know, as a young child, you feel guilty about the fact and you don't want to tell anybody. Well, just imagine what it is like for a child who's been sexually abused. They don't have the language, they don't know how to tell, and it's a dirty secret. So of course it takes years. And in my case, I wasn't the first to come forward and disclose. And very likely, I wouldn't be here only for another girl who came forward and made the first allegation in our school. So it is very, very difficult to come out and disclose to somebody. And that is why I would always appeal to anybody who has been abused. It doesn't matter whether it's a friend, counsellor, maybe a stranger, doctor, nurse, a Garda, somebody that you know, maybe somebody that you don't know, but to talk to somebody. It's not for everybody to go the legal route. It's not for everybody to go the criminal route. It is tough going. It is hard going. As an Irish nation, we are not very good at talking about sex. Even in a loving relationship, our intimacies are very personal, and they are between two people. So when it comes to sexual violence and sexual assault, it is very difficult to disclose. So that is why it is very much different for different people. It is not for everybody to go through the court system. But there should be a way for everybody who has been a victim to be able to talk to somebody, to realise what has happened to them. It is extremely important for mechanisms to be put in place for people who are being abused today and will be abused tomorrow. They can come forward far sooner than the historical cases. And one of the ways that this can be done is by the state being really truthful in what they are saying and being proactive about child protection. My belief is that because the Child Safe programme in the schools are guidelines, it's not compulsory, it's not legislated for. They are guidelines. The same as what has happened in Tuesday, as Maeve has referred to already. The guidelines are there for Tuesday with regard to what has been happening. And yet, each office will come out with a different interpretation. They must be serious about what they are doing. They must put sexual violence at an end, and certainly must drastically reduce it. And the way for doing that is through putting in legislative means the Stay Safe programme in the schools, and no deviations to it. One school cannot deviate from the programme while another complies to it 100%. The state, by their narrow interpretation of the judgment in my case, are facilitating the pushing under the carpet of the violence towards children in our schools. When the judgment was announced in my case in January of last year, the state should have immediately and without fail stood up, accepted responsibility, put their hands up and say, yes, we were at fault. Let us do something about it. But no, they've hid behind the fact that there must be a complaint before they're responsible. But the judgment was simple. No mechanisms had been put in place. None. The government were aware, and the state were aware, that children were being abused. The Carrigan report was published in 1931, but instead of widely publishing it, it was hidden in filing cabinets because they didn't want others to know what was happening in Ireland. They were pushing it under the carpet. In the 1940s, they were well aware of child sexual abuse in schools. And yet they now claim that the only reason that they were responsible for me was because a complaint was made in 1971 and I was abused in 1973. But what happened to the girls that were abused before 1971 in my school? Whose fault was it? Who's partially to blame for those? The state were. Because they did nothing. They did nothing since 1931 and they did nothing since 1940s. But yet, they blame the children. It's the same when it comes to adult violence. Any man or woman, whether they're at home, or walking the street, or gone for a walk in the local woodlands, should be safe. They should be safe from sexual violence. Man, woman, or child can be sexually abused, and they can be abused by male or female. It's not always the male who commits sexual violence. It is hugely important that we have 1 in 4. 1 in 4 are an organisation who help the victims. I do know, and I know it is very difficult to make a phone call. It is equally difficult when somebody at the other end of the line says they cannot help you today. The people in 1 in 4 who offer services that they do to people like me are tremendous. They put their heart and soul into their work. They give their heart and soul to the people who attend the office. And it is heart-rending to tell somebody who is in dire need of being able to talk to somebody that we cannot see you at the moment. They know the possible effects to the person who's at the other end of the phone. So on their behalf, and on behalf of the people who do attend 1 in 4, I would say thank you to the people who do the fundraising and to the people who donate. Thank you so much for making 1 in 4 possible. I am one of the people who have had a very long road, but I am only one. I'm not the only one. There are hundreds of people all over the country, historical cases, current cases, and I can tell you that without fail, before the end of this week, there will be at least 1 phone call to 1 in 4 that's a new call. And it won't be an historical case. And on that note, I would ask that anybody and any organisation who has given to 1 in 4, that if you are able to do so again, please do so with my thanks, because I am only one of many who will thank you. To anybody else or any other organisation who can come forward, who can help to organise a fundraiser. And you know, it doesn't matter whether it's €1, €10, €100, €1,000. Each and every single euro is important. Because if I put in €1, my neighbour puts in another euro, and another neighbour puts in another euro. The old saying is, look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. So it doesn't matter the size of the donation. It is all important. And equally so, for each donation. They are vital. Because 1 in 4 are doing a service that TUSLA and the state should be doing. Thank you very much.